About 200 million. It is.
Did you count them, the 9,000? Where is this figure from?
This is the government estimation.
All right.
I give you the UN estimation.
Okay, we're moving on now. Question in the front row, please. You, sir.
Mr. Nadim is repeating. You are repeating the claim of 200,000 people who have been killed in the war. This audience will be very happy if you could tomorrow publish the names of only 200, not 200,000. With the names and their villages, please. We will be very happy to see that in your website of your organization.
Nadim Hasbani.
Okay. The problem is the Sudanese government doesn't allow any media to go to Darfur. That's why you have this issue on numbers. However, people in the refugees, they testify and tell you, my family, my 3-4 children were killed in front of my eyes. I have the testimonies on video. It's on the Crisis Group website. I will send you the link if you like me to. People who testify how they were raped, killed. What would you say if your sister or wife is raped? Do you do nothing about it? There are thousands of cases like that who are documented. It happened in Darfur, and it happened because of the government support. And further to that, this is a major catastrophe. You have Muslims killing Muslims in Darfur. That's why we say the West should not meddle in it. Okay, but for Muslims, shouldn't they, at the religious duty, do something about it? Say something about it. Send aid. What are the figures of aid sent to Darfur? I can tell you what Canada sent. $150 million in aid. Canada is 20 to 25 million people. The Arab world is 250 million people.
Let's let the questioner come back here. Let's let the questioner come back.
Thank you, Nadim, for the same kind of lectures we used to hear from the media in the West. I think we had enough of that one.
Thank you. Lady in the third row. If you could stand up, please. We'll get a microphone to you.
Thank you. What makes you think we haven't cared? You could just suggest some things that we could do more to help.
Nadim Hasbani.
Well, we should differentiate between two things. What the Arab governments have done and what the people have done. There was a Zorbi poll last year, in 2007, that was made in 4 different Arab countries, asking people about Darfur if they care. You know, over the phone, they call you at home. And people said, yes, we do care, but we don't know what's happening. We want to send aid, but we don't know how to do it. Because people are sensitive to what's happening, but governments are not. That's a major issue. What governments should do is politically stop supporting the Sudanese government for killing its own people. He's killing his own population. This is unacceptable. Then what we should do as human beings, as part of the Arab society, is try to help the other by sending donations, by sending aid through the Red Crescent and other organizations. And this has not been done yet.
All right. Gentleman in the fourth row there. You, sir.
My question is for Mr. Ziad and Mr. Sirajuddin. You're saying that the Arab countries are actually caring about Darfur, but about 1 year ago, hundreds of Darfurian refugees went to Egypt and gathered in the center of Egypt, I think in January. And what did the Egyptian government do about this? They splashed the people with water, cold water, in the middle of January. And hundreds of people died. And about 50% of those people went to Israel. And there they found the compassion and food and shelters that they needed. Why didn't these shelters and food were provided by the Egyptian government?
Thank you very much for this question. This is very important. What you are saying that the Egyptian government is responsible for that, this must be revised. It is not the responsibility of the Egyptian government. It was and I was personally involved in this, it was a shared responsibility. It was
shared between who?
Shared responsibility between the
who subjected them to cold water treatment in the middle of January?
I will tell you, there were rumours at that time given by, I don't want to go into these details. It was rumours given at that time by some of the
but you're clouding the issue here.
Humanitarian
the police used water cannon on unarmed people in the middle of January, didn't they?
Yes,
fact.
Yes, they
fact.
did. Yes, they
fact.
did. Yes,
so they bear responsibility.
I think that
fact.
It is, of course.
So there's no way of getting out of the responsibility of the Egyptian authorities for what happened.
I am talking about another thing. When they were told that there is some buta gases with the refugees at that time in the middle, and they were going to explode it, something like that. And we discussed this also with the United Nations afterwards.
Nadim Hasbani.
How shameful it is for us as Arabs to go to Israel for shelter. Can you imagine how bad these people's situation was to go seek for shelter in Israel? How bad their situation in Egypt was?
Why just focusing on the Darfurians? I don't think that only the Darfurians.
Because there are many
that's the issue
refugees
that we're
from
talking
Darfur,
about.
many
Yeah,
refugees.
But many refugees. Too many refugees from Somalia, from Kenya, and they are traversing. They are going by Egypt to Israel. It's not only Sudanese.
I wanted to say generally that this incident of refugees in Egypt is an isolated incident. You cannot just put the whole heritage of the Egyptian-Sudanese relations on that and the way Egypt treated those refugees. They may have used...
2.5 million, Mr. Ambassador. 2.5 million Sudanese are living in Egypt right now.
About 5 million Sudanese living in Egypt.
They have any rights?
We cannot just blame Egypt for that and forget everything.
Gentleman in the first row there, please.
My question is for the panel for the motion. As you have stated, Mr. Ahmed, money is not enough. $250 million. It's just not enough. You wanted us to negotiate peace talks. We had the Abuja peace talk. What exactly would you like from your fellow Arab governments?
I would like our government, we as Muslims, Allah said to us, إن طائفتان من المؤمنين اقتتلتا فاصلحوا بينهما.
Could we do this in English, please?
Yes, which means that if two factions of Muslims quarrel with each other, you must come to mediate between them and to try to solve the problem. And if one party is a culprit, then you fight that party. This is what we want. We want our Arab brothers not to unconditionally support the government, but to come and say, well, look, you are all Sudanese. Sudan is a member of the Arab League. I think what is going on is wrong. And you, the government, has responsibility. Try to mediate, try to intervene positively, but not unconditionally support the government, as the ambassador said.
All right, we're going to take a question. Gentleman at the back. You, sir.
Thank you very much. My question is for the opposition, especially Mr. Zaid, since he was taking the position of defending Egypt. I'm Egyptian, by the way. Mr. Zaid, you claim that Egypt, the Egyptian government, does care about the Darfur situation. Wouldn't you say that an army like the Egyptian army that was able to cross the Suez Canal in '73, break through the Bar-Lev line, push the Israeli forces all the way hundreds of kilometers through Sinai to the Palestinian borders, wouldn't you say that such an army would be able to contain or sustain the situation in Darfur, or at least stabilize the situation? And please don't tell me that 1,700 soldiers are enough. For God's sake, it takes more soldiers than that to stop a protest in Cairo. Thank you very much.
Thank you. According to the rules of the United Nations for places in conflict and for countries in conflict, they are not allowed, the neighboring countries, to send more than a certain number. So the Egyptians...
Do you always go by the book, sir?
No, because we were in favor of sending much more troops from Egypt. As Arab League, the United Nations has its rules.
So the Egyptian government wanted to send more soldiers, but they couldn't because...
Not only the Egyptian government. This must not
How many did it want to send?
I think 3,000.
Nadim Hasbani.
Thank you very much, sir.
Still, they cannot send, for example, they cannot send the 26,000. The Egyptians can send easily the 26,000 that the United Nations needs, but they cannot.
Regarding neighboring countries, this UN rule was made mainly because some parties at the conflict did not trust the neighboring countries' neutrality in the conflict. So